Greetings, unsettled souls, and welcome to The Correct Views. Sam IB reporting for The Media Speaks. If you're one of the people that saw me staring live doing a Bill Clinton, it's because usually Google gives you 2 beeps and it didn't. So I'm sitting there like a wooden Indian waiting for my second beep to kick in, and it never did. So welcome to the show. I'm prepared as always. Do me a favor, friends. When you listen to these stories, make sure you leave comments to them and make sure you subscribe. Both help me a lot because the show's been growing since I've been remembering to ask people to do it. I don't really think of it. I think if you like the show, you're going to hit subscribe, but you know, you got to ask. But please do. Friends, this is from Lee Rockwell blog, and this is dedicated to our keyboardist and my brother, Chris DeGangi. Why do they really hate Toronto Mayor Rob Ford? And it's kind of a joke. My brother and I are working on producing the new Closet Monster song. It is just a little bit late. That has been promised to everyone. And I told him that some people on this show had asked me when they were going to get their new Closet Monster track. To which he replied as a joke, "I will try not to embarrass you in the future." Which was a quote from this mayor. I have enough trouble keeping up on the American news enough to keep, always on the cuff. I mean, it's 4 in the morning. Nobody else is out here, and I am. I try to get things to everybody first, and for those that you may have heard, I try to put a different twist on what you've already heard and take it away from the left-right paradigm that so many people like to stuff things into. As I've been following Rob Ford, I have found that the man is not an awful mayor. Yes, and it mentions this in the article. He's got all kinds of bad habits. Do I think your mayor should smoke crack? No, I think that's probably a bad idea. However, you mean to tell me that the only mayor or the only politician in all of Canada to have used cocaine is Rob Ford? He's the only one, right? He's the only one that went spotting off at the mouth when they were angry and did it in front of somebody that they trusted and had them put it everywhere. I'm sorry. There have been a million times that I've just been blowing off steam. It is what it is. This man's a politician and somebody used it to destroy him. Am I a fan of what he said? No, not really. I hope he doesn't go and kill someone. That'd probably be bad. But have you ever said something like that when you were angry? This was not a press conference. So I began to wonder why this man is becoming so very infamous. And Lee Rockwell blog has a great article that I had to get to. Because and I'm going to tell you why. This is what they're going to do to Rand Paul. This is what they're going to do to Justin Amish. This is what they're going to do to people when they want them out of the way. And why would they want this man out of the way? You'll find that it has very little to do with crack cocaine. The media is full of revelation after revelation, it says, of the latest evil doing of embattled Toronto Mayor Rob Ford. But there is no doubt dozens of mayors and other local officials in the US and Canada who are awash in corruption and bad personal habits. Why no wall-to-the-wall coverage of their foibles? Why do the media and elites really hate Rob Ford so much? One clue is buried in yet another article, otherwise filled with salacious details of the latest brouhaha. And it says, part of that building has been a heavy emphasis on being accessible to constituents. Mayor Ford gives out his cell phone number to voters to call him any time about problems or city services or taxes. Oh, what about 4 in the morning when The Correct Views is online? All right, let me ask you something, America. Let me ask you something, Canada. What other mayor does this? I'm sure there's probably some really cool country bumpkin ones that do, but Toronto? Give me another city the size of Toronto where the mayor gives the voters his home phone number, or his cell phone number, to call any time they want. Oh, but he's terrible because he uses crack cocaine and cusses on his own time, right? That just makes him, again, I am not a fan of cocaine. For those of you wondering, I'm a fan of letting people do whatever they want to do to their own bodies, but no, personally, not at all. I tried it once when I was very stupid after being raised way smarter and I knew better when I did it. I was raised better than that. I did it. You know what? It sucked. Hated it. Never do it again. Worst mistake of my life even. Not the word. No, it's not the worst mistake of my life. We won't get into that. Alright guys, I'm digressing, but I'm pointing to a bigger picture here. I'm trying to point to the fact that they are smearing this guy for other reasons. And those other reasons are incoming. He eschews a chauffeur and other city perks. For those of you Usher fans, that means does not use a chauffeur. All in the name of keeping spending down for the average taxpayer. He's even been photographed reading work documents while driving on the expressway. I don't believe in wasting taxpayers' money, he later said about the controversial photo. Okay, that's not a real wise idea, but when's the last time your mayor cared that much about his job? He's living, breathing, and sleeping it. So yeah, if the man's caring that much about the job he does as mayor, I'm pretty sure he's probably pretty angry from time to time when things don't go well, because he puts a lot into it, clearly. And maybe he unwinds in ways that you and I don't like. That affects Toronto, the citizens of Toronto, how? Upon winning his first election, Rob immediately garnered a reputation for keeping taxes and city expenses down. In 2001, he advocated cutting limousines as a city perk and slashing each councillor's $200,000 budget used for travel and club memberships. So the city council in Toronto is mad at him because they lost their limousines and their $200,000 travel budgets. That's more than most people make in a year. That's their travel budget. So let me ask you something. Do you think maybe one of those trusted people turned this video over just to get him reamed? Because I do. If we wiped out the perks for council members, would save $100 million easy, he said, according to the Toronto Globe and Mail. In 2006, Councillor Ford offended the gay community when he questioned $1.5 million in the anti-AIDS program. It's very preventable, he said. If you're not doing needles and you're not gay, you wouldn't get AIDS. That's the bottom line, probably. Well, again, that's kind of a stupid comment. But this has been a man who has done his best for that city. Now, you can say that you don't like his politics, and I don't know enough about his politics to give you one way or the other. But from what I can tell on those politics, the people of Toronto probably like this man a lot. And I don't think it has anything to do with boneheaded usage of crack cocaine. And that's what I think it is. It's dumb, but it's up to him and God. Friends, I'm going to go ahead and put a video on here because I've noticed something. Oh no, now my computer wants to restart. No, you will not be restarting now. I'm going to go ahead and I realize I live in a world where if you can't see its pictures, then it's not real, right? Alright, fine. This is what radiation does to you. This is why I report on it. So we'll leave this here for you all to enjoy. While I go on to these next couple of stories here, this is from RT. A radioactive leak found in reactor at South Carolina nuclear plant, one of the largest in the United States. It doesn't matter, it's just a little bit of radiation. All right, you watch this little bit of radiation and let me know what you think about it while I go on. A reactor at one of the nation's largest nuclear power plants has been taken offline due to a radioactive leak within a containment building. Out of an abundance of caution, the service was temporarily removed from Unit 1 at the Oconee Nuclear Power Station in western South Carolina early Monday, according to ONX spokeswoman BJ Gatton. A robot was used to confirm the leak over the weekend after it was first suspected Friday night inside Unit's 1 containment facility, Gatton said. That tells a lot. Oh, it was only for the abundance of caution, mind you. It was only to be extra safe. We knew it wasn't that bad. That's why we sent a robot instead of a person. They knew that it could have been rather significant. It is not due to an abundance of caution. It is to do with the fact that they're flying by the seat of their pants like every other nuclear hack job in the world, just waiting for yet another meltdown to occur. Less than 1/10 of a gallon of radioactive material is leaking per minute, although it is not yet known how long the leak has existed, she said, according to WYFF. Well, I mean, it's only one drop in the head, right, until it becomes the Chinese water torture. It's only a little bit of radiation, unless, of course, it's been going on forever and seeping into the ground. How's your water out there? Are you happy, South Carolinians? Or are some of you going to hear this and finally do something about it? Are enough of you going to hit share to make sure this gets to the people of South Carolina? Or are you just going to act like, I don't know what I'm talking about, that this is going on all over the world? The leak remains solely inside the containment building, a stain-lined airtight area with concrete walls several feet thick. No one works inside the containment building, Gatton said. Well, if they don't know how long it's been going on, then how can they be sure that everything isn't full in there? Again, I'm not saying it leaked outside the containment vessel. I'm saying that they wouldn't tell you if it was. My gut instinct is, you know what, maybe it has not. But due to an abundance of caution, they've shut it down. It says the leak is subject to ongoing repairs and analysis, though there is no estimate of when it will go back online. South Carolinians, why can't you make that never? Or do you like this? Gann claims the leak will not put any employees or the public in danger, nor will it affect service. The leak has been reported to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, she said. A commission report said Unit 1 was running at full power Friday. Well, doesn't that make you feel a whole lot safer? It's run by Duke Energy, so now you know where not to put your investments. That's one way to hurt them. It says it's supposed to be shut down. It's expired this year, 2013. After 40 years, but now they're going to extend it for another 20. They're extending a nuclear reactor that was never designed to run for 60 years, for 60 years. And, don't worry, South Carolina, it doesn't matter. None of this only happens to other people. This here, the radiation effects, those don't happen to people in South Carolina. That's a fluke. Come on, people. Last thing I'm going to get to on the radiation update. I've been seeing a lot of it lately. Experts confirm polonium on Arafat clothing. Yasser Arafat might have been poisoned by radiation. You know what I say? Who gives a damn? Right? I'm sorry. Yasser Arafat did much to blow up many children, and I don't care. I think we need to pull all of our troops out of these nations and let these people fight amongst themselves. But Yasser Arafat was no great, wonderful man, so the fact that he's not with us anymore is hardly anything to weep over. However, this is why I'm going to the story. If they can do this to him, who was a political enemy to many, then they can do it to you and I, who are, in fact, a political enemy to many. So I am going to grudgingly stick up for this new Hitler, recent Hitler I should say, who was garbage in my eyes. Yasser Arafat was trash. I'm going to stick up for it. Because if they can do it to him, then they can do it to me. They can do it to you. They can do it to whoever they don't like based on what they say whenever they want to, and they can get away with it. That makes me sicker than Yasser Arafat does, but not by a lot. Swiss radiation experts have confirmed they found traces of polonium on clothing used by scum Yasser Arafat, which support the possibility the veteran Palestinian scum leader was poisoned. In a report published by The Lancet at the weekend, the team provides scientific details to media statements made in 2012 that they had found polonium on the child bomber Arafat's belongings. The child bomber Arafat died in France on November 11, 2004 at the age of 75, but doctors were unable to specify the cause of death. No autopsy was carried out at the time in line with the widow's request. His remains were exhumed on November 2012 and samples taken partly to investigate whether he had been poisoned, a suspicion that grew after the assassination of Russian ex-spy and Kremlin critic Alexander Litvinenko in 2006. So that's why this is really mattering, and that's why I'm sticking up for Arafat. It says that investigation is ongoing, led by teams France, Switzerland, and Russia-based. In the Lancet report, 8 scientists working at the Institute of Radiation Physics and University Center of Legal Medicine in Lausanne said they had carried out radiological tests on 75 samples. 38 samples from Arafat's belongings, including underwear and a shapka hat, a toothbrush, and a hospital cap and sportswear that were provided by Palestinian leader Arafat's widow, Sua Arafat. They also likely did this to Karen Silkwood in the United States. So this is something that they like to do. They like to put radiation on their enemies. So, if I die of some glowing radiation disease, and I've been anti-radiation since you've tuned into the show, they got me, God forbid. And things like that, you just have to hope, you gotta hope and pray that God's there for you. These were checked against 37 reference samples of cotton clothing that had been kept in an attic for 10 years and protected from dust. Several samples containing body fluid stains, blood, and urine contained higher unexplained polonium-210 activities than the reference samples, says the case report. It induces nausea, and basically they think the child-killing scum was poisoned. And friends, that matters, because it's not always child-killing scum that get it. Sometimes it's just the regular whistleblower, like Karen Silkwood, who tried to stop things like this from happening. So it matters. And for that instance, I hope they find out whether or not Yasser Arafat was poisoned, but not for any other reason. Friends, go to thecorrectviews.com and click on Bud K. When you do that, you will be helping the Media Speaks, because if you do it in that order, automatically the Media Speaks gets help. So what are you going to buy? Well, I've been talking about Christmas gifts forever, all kinds of really cool things. I'm going to go ahead. I do have a lot of people that are into survival items that watch this show. I usually go in another direction with the Bud K because I think Kyle, Court, and D-Lake do an excellent job with the other. But now that I've looked at some of these first aid kits, I'm going to go ahead and gear this particular plug tonight for them. I can't get over talking about this, for one thing. The Emergency Survival Sleeping Blanket. It's $1.99. When is the last time you or anybody you break down, you're in Screwedville in the middle of nowhere, you don't have AAA, and if you do, they're taking an Eon to come and get you? Well, I can think of a time or two I would have wished I would have spent $1.99 to have been just a little bit warmer. It's a survival blanket for $1.99. And they've got for $14.99 the Elite First Aid Kit. It's good for 16 people. That means it's good for less than $1 a person. You can't argue with that. And then, I don't know, this is just one of those odd gifts, but I liked it. Kugelin Snake Bite Kit, $4.99. Not a huge problem where I live in Ohio. We have, the snakes that bite us, usually non-poisonous. We have copperheads and that. But I'm sure these aren't anti-venom. But my point being, it might be something that you want to go ahead and check out. Do so at the Bud K. Friends, I'm going to go ahead and pull this down now. You've seen that wonderfulness that they want to bring death to us all, and then just tell us it's not really all that big of a deal. It's a little bit of radiation poisoning, Sam. What are you worried about? All right, and now I've got everything going in all directions. So yeah, go ahead and restart if it makes you feel that much happier. It says natural news. Ethan Huff. Processed foods contain healthier ingredients in foreign markets than they do in the U.S. It's not bad enough that they put God only knows what, oftentimes the ingredients of yoga mats. If you don't believe me, look it up. The ingredients of yoga mats are in your chicken nuggets. It's not bad enough that they do all of this to our food supply. But what's even worse is that many times they'll say that they don't want to alter the taste of the product by changing the ingredient. And yet, as I am about to prove to you, the ingredients are changed for other markets and other countries that don't allow it. So what's the headline here? Well, what's the news here? The news is that Americans get to eat cheap garbage poison because the American FDA allows us to eat it, when other countries' food censors, if you want to call them that, the filters, whatever their anagrams are, They're not allowed over there. Not Europe, not other companies. America, it's good enough for Americans. Are you angry? Good, because I am. It's bad enough that many processed foods currently on the market today still contain artificial dyes, chemical stabilizers, and preservatives, refined sugars, and various other toxic yet FDA-approved ingredients. Again, which is why Ron Paul likely wanted to get rid of the FDA. But a recent investigation by foodbabe.com reveals a shocking double standard within the food industry. Processed foods, it says, created for the American market are often far worse nutritionally than those created for foreign markets, despite claims by the food industry that there are simply no acceptable or safe alternatives to the current U.S. product formulations. Many popular processed foods, it says, such as Kraft macaroni and cheese, Ritz crackers, McDonald's French fries, and Pizza Hut garlic cheese bread, one of my favorite, to name just a few, are intentionally formulated much differently here in the U.S. than they are elsewhere. Remember those names: Kraft, Ritz, McDonald's, Pizza Hut. To Kraft's credit, they do have organic food at the Giant Eagle near my home, but that does not justify this. Foreign varieties of these and many other processed foods are generally healthier, contain fewer or no toxic additives, and are all around more appealing from a health standpoint than their American counterparts. It says Quaker does this too. Oh, but Quaker, not only do you take the name of a wonderful religion, but you smear it. Take Kraft macaroni and cheese, for instance. The American version of this popular processed food product contains a laundry list of unhealthy ingredients, including enriched flour, artificial cheese flavors, chemical preservatives, and synthetic petroleum, that would be oil, gas, petroleum-based dyes like Yellow 5, which has been linked to triggering behavioral problems in children. So maybe if they didn't have Yellow 5, they wouldn't need so many pharmaceuticals. Oh, but that's terrorism to say that. You don't want to talk about the fascist government's pharmaceutical industry. The UK version, on the other hand, known as cheesy pasta, contains simple ingredients like durum wheat semolina, which is much healthier than refined flour, real cheese, and natural colors derived from paprika and beta-carotene. That's almost healthy. You can view a shocking comparison of the two ingredients by going to foodbabe.com. It says the same goes for McDonald's French fries, which in the U.S. are loaded with hydrogenated oils, synthetic flavoring agents, and dangerous chemical preservatives like TBHQ and the anti-foaming agent dithiproxyl. We're going to do this. Dimethylpolysiloxane, is the key ingredient in children's silly putty. That big eye chart of a word I gave you, that's what's in your chili putty, a silly putty, and that's what's in your McDonald's French fries, and likely your chili putty. In the UK, however, McDonald's French fries contain only natural potatoes, salt, and a little bit of sugar and non-hydrogenated vegetable oil. It says Quaker Oats, the great breakfast cereal. The healthy food item is limited to simple oats and fruit. No. In the U.S., Quaker Oats strawberry flavor oatmeal cereal contains poisonous additives like partially hydrogenated soybean oil, artificial strawberry flavor, red 40, and a slew of chemical preservatives and even more artificial flavoring agents. In the UK, that version of this same product, on the other hand, contains none of the hydrogenated oils, no fake strawberry flavor, and actual freeze-dried strawberry pieces. Well, thank you, Quaker, McDonald's, and Pizza Hut, and Kraft. You are scum. I'm going to go on. I got two more stories. I'm going to hop off here. This is shtfplan.com. Obama's Secret Service says it's worse than people know, and I'm not trying to scare you either. You may have your suspicions about what's going on behind closed doors at the White House, but according to one of President Obama's former bodyguards, it's much worse than we can even imagine. Dan Bongino has protected numerous presidents over his career, including President Obama. He has been within an earshot of many a discussion in the Oval Office, and up until this administration has stayed out of the limelight. Apparently, however, the activities of this administration are so abhorrent that he could no longer keep quiet. Bongino is so upset, it says, at what he witnessed that he is now running for Congress because he feels it's the only way to take America back from the sycophants who have made every effort to enrich themselves with money and power at the expense of the American people. So how bad is it? We're in a lot of trouble. The president sees the government, and I think it's because of his lack of experience and maybe the community organizing in the past, as a shiny new toy. For all the disagreements I had with Clinton, Carter, and Bush, there were always limits. There was that line that you didn't cross. We cross it seemingly every day. We're lost in the scandals. The Jamie Dimon shakedown at Chase, the HHS scandal, Kathleen Stiglitz shaking down the healthcare industry for money, the IRS. It's to the point where these scandals in and of themselves would be a huge back-breaking scandals, but they are lost in the scandal of fog at this point. It's worse than people know, and I'm not trying to scare you either. This is coming, it says, from someone who stood next to the president for presidents for their entire career, all of his career. The implications are absolutely terrifying, especially considering how bad the publicly known scandals already are. Can you imagine what's happening outside of the view of Americans? It says it's only a matter of time before someone slaps an email on your desk from 15 years ago and says, look what we have against you. He's talking about the spying. Remember, when the key is held by someone else, liberty means absolutely nothing. That personal and private self are being evaporated. That's the answer that's given for it says, well, we all do something wrong. And that's true. It absolutely is. They've got so many laws, you break them every day and don't even know it. So friends, support Dan Bongino. He's really putting his neck out for everyone, and I think those kinds of people need to be heralded. As you will know if you go to the Facebook page, or go to Passing Time, the band's Reverb Nation page, you can buy an Eric Snowden Correct Views t-shirt. The back of it says, use the thinking part of your brain, with this logo on it. The front of it has Edward Snowden, and it says, this man is a hero. Friends, you're listening to The Correct Views, which is brought to you by the Arcadia Grill. The Arcadia Grill is located in downtown Canton, and if you have not eaten there, you are missing out on some of the best spaghetti and some of the best tasting cocktails you've ever had. Make sure you go to themediaspeaks.com and look at the work of Kyle, Court, D-Lake, and myself. Last but not least, friends, good night, God bless, and please share this video with at least one other person. Good night, friends.